Good evening. I am Cassidy Upshaw, a student in Social Work 300 for the spring semester 2017, and today I will be presenting my Louisiana Slave Database poster. The abstract. This project focuses on three variables of the Louisiana Slave Database. One variable it focuses on is the age of the slaves that were being sold. Another variable that my project focuses on is race of slaves as well as counts of slaves by sex. In figure 1, you see my bar graph, and this bar graph is showing the race of slaves as well as count. This particular table shows the different race of slaves that were in the Louisiana slave trade. The race that made up the majority of the population during the time of the Louisiana slave trade were the blacks. Black slaves made up more than half of the slave population, charting 80%. The Octoran made up little to no percent of the Louisiana slave trade during this time period. Bar graph number 2. This bar graph shows the slaves ranged by age. This table is based on the date sale of slaves and how many slaves were sold on those dates. This table's bars indicates the fluctuating numbers of slaves that were being sold each January between the years of 1750 and 2000. Between the time period of January 1st, 1800 and January 1st, 1825, the frequency of slaves being sold grew tremendously. And right there, you'll see where it grew. And the x-axis, it is telling me the dates and the year they sold the slaves, while on the y-axis, it is telling me the frequency as to how many slaves were sold on that particular date. The N placed on the top right-hand corner of the chart tells me how many slaves were included in this study. Last but not least, my final chart, figure number 3. This chart shows slave count by sex, male and female. As I was doing my video, I realized where right here I didn't finish on my poster, so I know I'll be counted out for that. But I'm going to finish here. And the third chart shows how many male and female slaves they had during the Louisiana slave trade. The count of slaves being sold in this chart range between the numbers of 0 and 60,000. The amount of male slaves being sold were more than the amount of female slaves being sold during this time. In conclusion, I would like to say, based off reviewing this different research within the Louisiana slave database, there is a variety of slaves being sold throughout that particular time period. African Americans had a very hard time during not only the Louisiana slave trade, but throughout the years of the 1600s until about 1865. Over in my right-hand corner, you'll see a map that I have of the different parts of Africa and like the different parts where the slaves were being sold back in the years between 1600 until about 1865. And that concludes my poster. Thank you.